Right, Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways, the DLC. I'm talking about the original game, 2005, not the remake from 2023. And also, I should mention this, I'm using the new microphone, so if everything sounds wrong or something, that's why. It's because of the new microphone. So, it's quite hard to review Separate Ways. It's just more of Resident Evil 4. So I will sort of reiterate my Resident Evil 4 review, which is this. It's a fresh of breath air coming from Code Veronica, but by the end of Resident Evil 4, I wanted more games like Code Veronica, to be honest, because even though Code Veronica was low-key offensive, the 3D looked bad, it was starving for new tech, because it's just like, why can't I turn the camera if we're in 3D right now? The way the game was laid out was stupid, because you had the hubs you had to walk miles between. But even so, by the time I finished Resident Evil 4, I was just like, I miss Code Veronica, because it was a Resident Evil game. It was a survival horror game. Specifically the end of Resident Evil 4, where you're on a military base and all the zombies have like large guns and everything's just a pain in the ass to do. The DLC is not as bad, mainly because they're sort of quick. You're just doing a sort of tour, and also you don't have to deal with Ashley. All of her entire plot line is her going, I secretly know stuff, but I'm not going to tell anyone. And then she gets away with having the serum that she's going to give to Wesker for some reason. I'm not really entirely sure when she became a spy. I believe she was a journalist originally, but whatever. Ada's now an international spy. She's also inexplicably exactly the same character as Rouge from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. What's next? I have to click on something to find out. Resident Evil Revelations 2. John, I thought you just said you were playing them in order. I know, but like also they're part of my Fights and Frights playlist, and I needed a Resident Evil game from a specific year. Well, I needed a fighty or frighty game from a specific year, and I struggled with whatever the year that was. I'm gonna have to look up what year that is now. Just doing that now using my computer. 2015. Yes. Resident Evil Revelations 2 probably makes a lot more context than the following Resident Evil Revelations 1, but whatever, that's the order I played them in, and it's apparently the order I'm doing the reviews in as well. You play as... This was an episodic game. The first thing I want to say is I bought the game. I was like, £4, deal. I got it on... I got it on a sale. And then I finish episode 1, and I go, what's going to be what's episode 2 like? It's like, well, you got to buy episode 2. So wait, what? It turns out like 75% of that game is DLC. Now, luckily, Capcom games are constantly on sale. I just had to wait literally a week. But still, the way the game works is you flip between two different characters. So when I say I finished episode 1, it's episode 1A and episode 1B. You play as Claire Redfield and Moira Burton, which is Barry Burton's daughter. Oh, you know Barry Burton, beloved like fun guy from the original Resident Evil. What if he had an annoying teenage daughter who speaks in a way that no teenager actually speaks, but what old people think teenagers speak like? So you now there's a company called TerraSave who are like a philanthropist. I don't know how to pronounce that fucking word. I think you can get it from that. I think that's enough. There's so much bioterrorism going on in the world. There are now like corporate companies that exist to help people out who've gone through those things. But oh no, they've been kidnapped and put on a Saw island, and now we have to like fight Saw monsters. There's an overseer. So like part 1 is their journey. That like there's this woman on the radio. It's I won't spoil who it is, but it's someone relevant. But it's fear. It's all about fear, and it has this like we're going to constantly talk about Kafka, and like does it use? I've not read any Kafka, but I do know what what the story in which dude turns into a fly, whatever that's called. That's what it's called, right? It's an anime, right? I know, there are themes to that, and the themes to that isn't like fear. Oh, that's scary, isn't it? Fear. No, like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't lean into the theme. They just lean into the fact that Kafka exists and that he wrote scary stories, apparently. So in actual fact, the story makes no sense. The virus in this time turns you into a monster, but only when you're sufficiently scared. So you're put through this sort of like survivalist situation. It's kind of like a Resident Evil Light insofar as it doesn't have the puzzle boxness of the original games, but it's vaguely shaped like one. But actually, you're just sort of you're in. I don't. You move much faster, you flow like a modern game. You can sort of tell they're trying to find the middle between the original games and like action games. So you don't the reason why I'm pausing is because I was about to say something which wasn't true, which is like the original game, you contend a lot with scarcity, and I suppose you do, but it feels a lot more unfair. In these games, you actually have a flashlight. You have two characters. You switch between one shoots and the other like finds stuff for you, which I think you're supposed to do as like a pair of people, because at this point Resident Evil really wanted you to play as a team. But like if you're playing single player, you just have to swap over to Moira so she can go, look, there's a thing on the floor. And when you're Barry, it's a psychic girl that can see enemies, which is quite good. I really like the invisible enemy, actually. The other half of the story is that Barry is now trying to find her daughter, and now it's a robber. It's different types of monsters because of plot reasons, and you're sort of going over the same areas again. And I didn't think it was as bad as some people thought it was. It's certainly not as good as a classic Resident Evil. Moira is frequently quite annoying, but it's nice playing as Barry again. I appreciate he's not an A-list cast member, and it's nice being Claire Redfield again. I sort of cut a lot of this short because I realised I'm 7 minutes in and I'm still on just the second game. But the point is, you go A-B with Claire, Barry, Claire, Barry, Claire, Barry. You slowly progress inside the island. You find the secret lab that's secretly in every single fucking Resident Evil game. And then you go, it was a witch. It was a witch. She was doing stuff for reasons because of the extended Code Veronica insane Resident Evil plot that I won't get into right now. It's dumb. And obviously, nothing's going to come of it. Like Revelations 1 and 2 have plot twists at the end, and nothing comes of them because Resident Evil 7 just goes, no, not anymore. Which is for the best, to be honest. But I would recommend it only if you're really into Resident Evil games or just really want to experience them. But I don't think they're too bad. It's in the general shape of a survival horror. They're not very long either, and you develop. The thing is, you have lots of monsters fighting at the same time. That's sort of how it is. Like rather than you finding a single zombie and be like, oh god, fuck, I can't deal with this. So it's trying to do that. It's trying to balance a modern action sensibility with the survival horror, and it doesn't quite work. We'll talk more when we get to the first game, which is down this list. Resident Evil 5. Oh boy, this is the one where it's Resident Evil 4. Oh no, you remember that? Where they went to a Spanish village and they're oh wow, isn't this cool? Like instead of zombies, you have the Las Plagas, and they got a hip, a hop. That's the last ketchup. That's I've gotten that confused, haven't I? Will I cut this out? No, I'm cutting out nothing. That's you just go into the village and they're all singing that. It's like, oh my goodness, this is terrifying. No, it's Spanish villagers and they all look at you but they're not zombies. They're not slow, and then as you progress through the game, you notice they start pointing at you, and they say a thing. I've forgotten the word they say, but it's the pose from the Body Snatchers, and I see you, person who's seen Body Snatchers. I forgot what that actor's name. He's dead now. But yes. But we're in Africa, and it seems a bit racist, and you're like, Okay, but Japan sometimes does these things accidentally. I'm gonna try. It's an old game now. I can try and give things the benefit of the doubt. I can't help but copy the zero punctuation review. And then you get to the like wood huts and they're carrying spears and you're like, this is, oh no, Capcom, this is, oh, I don't like this. Ooh. But like ignoring this, Wesker, who died in the first game, he's now like explicitly the villain. He's now like, I don't want to just quote other people's reviews, but like he's trying to like wipe the planet out and turn everyone into mutants. I don't understand why. I don't understand, like, because he wants the superior people, and I just thought this was about corporate greed. Now, there are some ways that like this is sort of the fun of playing a Resident Evil game, that it's gonna just be fucking stupid. But the problem is, I played the game by myself. You play with a second person, I imagine the game might be quite fun. But go at the start of the game, you don't have that village that Resident Evil 4 had at the start, where you're like, oh, this is kind of an action-y version of like the puzzle box of the original games. But now it's just trying to survive in the village and going back and forth and like trying to figure out what to do. It has a very small area right at the start where it just throws you in without even having the walk-in. Well, you have a little bit of a walk-in. But like then it's like entirely a linear series of events. And already that's a shame. You're already missing the back and forth of 4. It's really weird because like Capcom games are quite good at recycling their areas. You know, that's why they have A and B plots. And they make it feel meaningful, and for some reason they convince themselves they can't do that anymore and they have to have like set pieces. So when it like leans into like, oh, we can use these areas for things, they can be quite interesting. There's like a boss that you have to get into a crushing machine, and that was quite good. And then there's the boss where you have to attack a giant fly, and it's fucking shit because your AI partner is standing next to you the entire time, and you're like, no, I need you to be over there so I can shoot it in the back. How am I supposed to? But like that has stuff that you can put on the ground, and it helps. When you have to fight Wesker at the end of the fucking game in a volcano. By the way, that game's famous for Chris, or some guy who's eaten Chris, because fucking his arms. Hulk Hogan has smaller arms. Well, Hulk Hogan's dead as well. The Hulk Hogan's 24-inch pythons has nothing on fucking Chris Redfield in this game. Christ, he's huge. Every time and I know this, and I knew that from Reputation he was like this, but you're playing the game and you're just occasionally reminded, why is he so big? He's just huge. But like, when he punched the boulder, I knew it was happening, so I cheered. And then, of course, I got stuck on fucking Wesker for an hour, because he can only be hurt by shooting him in the back, and your AI partner refuses to go into a useful position. It took me fucking ages, and I went through literally all my ammo to defeat him, and it was such a fucking slog. So I quite liked the game when it got to there's a ship. You go on a ship. The level names are like Main Deck and Other Deck. They all got really boring fucking names. I don't know why they stopped giving things interesting names. Tyrant's a great name. Like, somebody in that company knows how to name things. Anyway, but yeah, when the zombies start being able to do military roles and stuff, it does work quite well. When you're shooting across large areas, it works quite well. I'm going to be repeating myself when I get to the other Resident Evils. And those levels were quite well designed. Did I want zombie military shooter? Not really, but like, that's what the system sort of leaned into anyway. I did stop for 8 months because there was a room with 2 zombies with chainsaws in, and that guy's really scary in Resident Evil 4, but oh, well, if there were 2 of them, well, it sucks because one of them's just going to constantly kill your fucking AI partner, who I've got no way of telling her to get the fuck out of the way. And so I stopped playing for 8 months and I had to come back. So yeah, it's the AI and your partner that massively lets it down. It makes it so frustrating to play 5. And Wesker is it's just really dumb. Like I didn't know there was a lifelong rivalry between Chris and fucking Wesker, like, because the version of Code Veronica I played didn't have those scenes. I did look them up afterwards, but even then I was just like, I didn't realize this was a thing. Oh, there's a whole subplot where there's a mysterious, where's Jill gone? But also there's this mysterious woman. But also where's Jill gone? And maybe, I don't know, maybe the game can answer both these questions in one like stupid twist where it's like, oh, now she's blonde and she has like a bodysuit on and a gem that mind controls her. And you're like, well, that seems like quite good tech. Maybe you should just use that instead of the zombies. Like, and you have to fight her while she's doing like weird goblin sexy poses. And again, I'm repeating another reviewer, which I don't want to do, but it's just like, poor Jill, she was back in the first game as well. Why is she not? Like, why is the rivalry between Wesker and fucking Jill? Like, she's got the fun version of the original game where she gets to do all the puzzles and stuff. But yes, there are, if you try your best, if you're playing co-op, you're trying to enjoy yourself in certain levels, you certainly can. It is not 6. I think I already reviewed 6 earlier. I played things in a weird order. Or at least I think I started 6 and the reviews came in the order of when I started the games. But yes, that's Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil Revelations 1. Because I was just like, you know what? I might as well just play the first game. Otherwise, I'm sort of spoiling the second game. So I sort of played them both at the same time. Resident Evil Revelations 1 was designed to be played on a 3DS, so it has a gimmick where you're like, oh, you got to scan in the 3D environment for your weapons, and I didn't really consider this for half the game, so I just had no ammo for loads of it until I was like, oh, you've just got to scan everywhere. You just have to be constantly scanning, got it. So the whole idea of this is you jump between lots of different characters, but you're mainly on a boat, and that's quite a good place. I mean, we've been on a boat a few times now, but boats are quite interesting places for Resident Evil games. They invent an entire goddamn city. This is like a city of the future. Oh wow, what happened to it? Oh, it gets exploded because of zombies. And you're like, cool, so that happened off screen? You could have set a game then, had that as an ending twister. No, it's just a setup for this game. The villain, which was kind of spoiled to me by the second game, is like the guy who runs the company that helps out against the terrorists, and he has to create terrorists. I'm just going to spoil the twist, by the way. He wants to create terrorism so his company can be there to stop terrorism. It's a fucking dumb plan, and it's really obvious from the beginning. There are also at least 2 double agents or triple agents in one case, and I don't understand their motivation at all, because they appear to be working for an entirely separate company, which is never referenced ever again. Again, I'm going to tell you all this, because who the fuck gives a shit about the plot of Resident Evil Revelations? And the final boss is the actual terrorist, who presumably believes in something, and he keeps quoting Paradise Lost, I think, and it's the same as the other game. It's just like, you're not really engaging with any of the themes of that book, you're just quoting shit from it. It's like, it's not the same thing. Fucking Moby Dick. I'm playing Moby Dick, even though fucking Star Trek, like, everyone knows that Moby Dick is about revenge, and it's like, I know, I think Brother Luke had read Moby Dick, but like I've seen reviews of Moby Dick, and there's like a considerable amount about whaling in that, like a surprising amount about like the logistics of whaling. And it's like, yeah, it's a theme, but also the book wants to talk about stuff and does go in for great lengths into that stuff, and it's not just like, hey, use me as a prop, just as the vague notion of revenge from now on. The terrorist, you fight the terrorist as the final boss, and he's got magical teleporting powers. I quite liked him, but I wish I knew anything about that guy. It was like, oh, he's the final boss, and you win a spooky underwater version of the ship. Oh, because of the stupid twist. What was his motivations again? Like, he was just right at the start of the game, and then they disappear. So it's Resident Evil Revelations 1. I think 2. They're bad in different ways and good in different ways. I mean, they're mostly bad, I won't lie, but I thought they were fine. Silent Hill F. See, we've caught up with modern day. Silent Hill is a Silent Hill F, a Silent Hill game? Yes, it is. It doesn't need to be set in that one fucking town. So you are a 60s, 70s, I don't know when it's set, 80s. It's set in the past at some point. I could just look this up. You are now in a rural hillside village, and you are a girl, and your parents are a dick to you, so you ran out the house and you go, and you want to talk to your friends. But then smoke descends upon the town and there are monsters. What's going on? Every so often you're trying to find your way out of the town. Every so often you teleported to the strange shrine and there's a fox guy here. And it's all very much like, this is all metaphor. We're steeped in metaphor here. We don't have any guns, but we have pipes and sticks and stuff. And there's a dodge system. It's people. You've got to be quite good at the timing with the dodge, and you have to charge up your attacks. And there's quite an in-depth system. You also have to be constantly picking up items and selling them off or to shrines, because you want to improve your stats, give yourself extra abilities by buying them, and so there's systems to the combat that you wouldn't expect a Silent Hill to have, but like it's a psychological horror in a smoky town that's half about like shit going on in your own mind. It's very much is a Silent Hill game. When you get to the end of the first game, I won't spoil it, but like there will be a revelation. You're like, okay, that's what really happened, I think. And when you play the game again, it's mostly the same scenes. You're encouraged to play the game at least 3 times, but it is not near Automata. It is going to be identical until like literally the last boss. There will be different writings, different sheets, and you're going to be putting together like what feels like overlapping interpretations of what's going on. Like you'll hear about like geysers going off, like poisonous geysers, and that's why there's smoke in the town. And like you'll hear radio broadcasts, and so like 2 of the friends has this story about how they used to play Space Wars together, and you just know like, oh, they just setting up the silly UFO ending. It was sort of funny that they put a lot of effort into setting that up as a thing, but like it very much feels like, okay, but is this real? But also there must be some real events that actually transpired, and we're sort of playing a metaphorical version of those events. Like how real is the brain space stuff? And I guess the end, which I have seen, I played all the way through, I saw the final ending, sort of has an answer, but that could still be metaphorical as well. So I'm kind of surprised it wasn't more explicit, but it feels like there are explicit answers as to what actually happened. But it is well worth playing at least the first time round, and maybe just watch those other endings. The thing is, the other playthroughs, you are reading sheets of paper and stuff like that. I wish they just added a little bit more to the second and third playthroughs. There are characters they're going to lean into as like more important to certain parts of the plot, and you can sort of see how their theme drips onto the monsters. I don't want to spoil anything, but there are like 5 monsters in the game, 6 maybe, but you see variations of them, and you know, like a Final Fantasy would. Oh, that's a fire version of that dog. Oh, that's a water version of that dog. But like fire and water might mean something. I've just taken 2 random words there. That's not the themes of Silent Hill F. One of the themes is very, very clever. So when you play the game for the second time around, you will have an additional challenge that makes sense to the story. That's sort of the cleverest thing the game does, where you're like, oh, okay, I can see how this is. Also, the game is nice enough to tell you what you need to do for the other endings, apart from the secret ending, which it does tell you, but you can still very easily miss it because of bullshit reasons. But also, the secret ending is literally just a funny credit screen, and you can just look that up, to be honest. And also, you do get a cool weapon, I suppose. But yes, oh my god, this is 24 minutes. I recommend Silent Hill F. This is too long. Oh god. Resident Evil Biohazard. I think this is Resident Evil 7. It is Resident Evil 7. I thought it was amazing. Let's get that out of the way. I had to play the entire fucking Resident Evil 6 to get to this, and I thought it was amazing. I realised really quickly this is just Resident Evil 1. Oh, they've just remade. That's really clever. But they've like, instead of it being a mansion, it's a house. Why? It's a small area of houses. That's got a name, and I do not remember what that name is. But like, you are doing the lock puzzle. You now have pursuers. There's like 4 members of the household. They are hillbilly zombie rednecks. There is there are monsters. They're just not introduced straight away. But if, at the start, instead of like running back and forth between like different areas of the mansion, it's like a room or not. The scale is down. They've obviously had inspiration from other first-person horror games, which I haven't played, but like it's actually scary. Which coming from Resident Evil 6 is kind of a surprise. I know nothing about the main character because he's a mute guy that you don't even see his face. But the story, for the most part, I thought was really good. Because it's first person. It does you're learning the story as you look around the house, and all that. The bosses, they're a little bit bullshit, I won't lie. I had to learn how to duck Jack, and actually you can do Jack. You can beat Jack without actually taking any hits once you realise you can duck his swings. But they're not as good as, say, Resident Evil 4 bosses. Like, for the first person does hinder bosses. But, like, the general atmosphere, the scarcity, all that works really well. I like when you look at your watch, it's the meter from the first game, which is why when I realised, oh no, it's explicitly a remake of the first game, just in a different style. I see what you've done. Like, it's not just me sensing it. Somebody went back and went, what was good about that first game? So the boxes with your magic teleporting items are back, because that's just a good idea, and I don't know why you'd stop doing that. It is actually a survival horror game again, and not a modern one like 4. And I really liked that. I don't know if I put the DLC on separate lists or not. There's one DLC which you play as Chris, and that's just like, hey, what if you have more guns and we just treat this like a first-person shooter but with puzzles? And like, yeah, it's okay. It's not as good as the original game. Being scared was sort of better. And the other one is, what if you're a redneck that entirely punches the shit out of zombies? And I'm like, I don't know what you were doing with the tone for this one. This is wacky as fuck. And then I was reminded, this is a VR game. You punch it. You pick up items, you punch. It's probably fun as fuck in VR. Fair enough. It's really silly, and like, you put a lot of effort into establishing this really like haunting tone, and where everything's like actually like gruesome and creepy, and then it's just like, this guy's fucking throwing sticks at crocodiles and punching zombies. And they're not zombies, they're the molded. Then they're quite good, the molded. Although there's a note in the game where scientists is like, did you see what I did? Because we've molded them into the shape, but they're made out of mutton. It's like, I did. I'm proud of you, scientists. Didn't need to put that in the note though. It's like Control. Just like, nerds wrote this, I can tell. I'm very proud of you, pat. But yes, no, Resident Evil Biohazard is very good. It's like, I'm probably not telling anyone anything they don't know. Final game. This has been by far the fucking longest one on the list. Oh god, this is going to take me more time. It's Tormented Souls. I've not finished Tormented Souls. I have finished every other game that I just spoke of on the list. Tormented Souls is a throwback to, it is a AA game, might even be a single A game. It's certainly an indie game. Modern graphics take on a sort of Resident Evil or a Silent Hill. You see what I put it on this list now. And you can tell that they really want to be like the thing. I will say, the Resident Evils, even Code Veronica, do quite a good job of making the sort of maze of going back and forth through places and slowly discovering the house. That's quite well designed, and I feel like that's the hardest bit for somebody to copy. The start of Tormented Souls especially is not fun. You can only save when you find like a reel-to-reel tape, and then you find the tape recorders, and they're only dropped in 1s and not 3s. So I did lose an hour's worth of time because the game just fucking didn't give me anything. When it's working nicely, it works quite well. Again, all the monsters also, they move slightly faster than a Resident Evil, and they spit at you, which means if you know there's one in the room, you just have to use all your bullets to get rid of it. You've got a nail gun. The other thing I should mention is, the game starts off, you go to, there's a hospital you are looking for, and the very first thing that happens is you get bonked on the head and you wake up naked in a bath. And I was like, oh no, I've accidentally bought one of those pornographic games, a Guna game, I think the internet would call it. It isn't, but like I was worried that that's what it was. As far as I know, there's nothing else like that in that game or its sequel, but I thought that was ill-advised because like she's had her eye removed, and if you want me to feel scared, maybe you don't put nudity on the screen at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, don't cross those streams, please. And I know that this genre is an exploitative genre. There's going to be lots about like mental health in this game as well, where I'm like, I'm not sure you're a good enough writer to really handle that. But like, I just feel like pragmatically, if you wanted to have a scene like that, like I'm not being a prude, you can have that scene, just not where you put it, and don't put it like you wake up in a bath and the part of your body's been removed, but also here's a naked person. You'll enjoy that. Like, have a shower scene. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen any movie from the 90s, 80s, but like put it somewhere else. It's fine. You could have just done that, and you could have been. Don't you put it in a weird place? And I might return this game actually and just pretend I did. But no, the game's fine. Just that was a weird decision at the start of the game. I just wanted to mention it because tone is important, and you were quite weird with it. I think there's also a gimmick that there's like a other side. It really does want to be both Resident Evil and a Silent Hill at the same time. It's not. It hasn't quite done that. But yeah, there are puzzles there when it's all flowing nicely, and I'm solving stuff, and I'm like, oh, I can get this fuse, and I can take the long route round, and I can plug it in there, and then the doors will work. Oh yeah, that's quite clever. And when it's all working, yeah, that's good. But when it's not, it's frustrating and janky, and I can tell it's an indie game. But honestly, I'm just a big fan of the sort of survival horror revival in general. I'm going to be playing a lot more of these games soon, hopefully.